In Thursday's red and blue political roundup, a key Republican senator is expressing optimism that a funding deal is on the horizon. Senator Richard Shelby is a member of the bipartisan conference committee hashing out a compromise for the president's border demand. Shelby is considered the top Republican negotiator. He's the chairman of the Senate Appropriations Committee and said he felt, quote, positive after a Thursday meeting with the president.
He's stated explicitly he wants us to, on the appropriation level, to conclude this, to fund the government. Does he want some things funded? Absolutely. You know, that's natural. So do I. But I think that we're on a positive trajectory course now. The next 72 hours probably are very important on the staff level because I see some sunshine.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi also appeared confident Senator Shelby could strike a deal, saying she believes a second government shutdown will be avoided.
Spoke with Senator Shelby. I told him, whatever you all come to agreement on, bipartisan agreement, I will support. I hope that the administration would have the same attitude and respect the appropriations process. Of course, I'm an appropriator, and I know they can find agreement.
The deadline to reach a funding compromise is February 15th. CBSN political reporter Caitlin Huey-Burns joins me now to talk more about this. So, Caitlin, what do we know about how a compromise is coming together?
Well, they're kind of running out of time. Yes, we have a week. We have till February 15th. But given kind of the procedures that have to be in place for a bill to actually pass, they kind of need to get a framework by the end of this week, really. So that means by tomorrow. So they seem, both sides know that they want to get something done. They've already been through a month-long government shutdown where Republicans especially were feeling the pressure of it, and the president was especially as well. They want to get something done, but the president also doesn't want to appear to be caving to Democrats yet again. Remember, he got a lot of pushback from his base, especially in conservative media, for being seen as caving to Democrats on the border wall. This is something that he promised, but he is working with a divided government. Nancy Pelosi in control of Congress, in control of the House, of course. Both sides really wanting something done, but still don't know exactly what the president would sign.
So to be clear, though, even though the deadline is February 15th, next Friday, they really have to get something done here in the next day or so.
Right, because it has to go through the whole entire procedure, the House, the Senate, and eventually onto the president's desk. So they need to get a framework at least in place. Now, the committee has been meeting, and according to Shelby and to Pelosi, they appear confident that they can get to some kind of resolution. But, you know, given what we've seen before, it's unclear how the president will react and whether there's kind of any last minute fumbling around here. And, you know, if you're a government worker, you're watching this very closely because you're coming off this one shutdown and you're very anxious about whether they can, in fact, get this together.
So let's shift gears here. Democrats, including Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, introduced the Green New Deal on Thursday. What do we know about this? It's a resolution, but how is this also part of a broader political strategy?
It certainly is. And the Congresswoman is a freshman from New York. She's not old enough to run for president, but she's certainly having an impact on the presidential primary on the Democratic side already well underway. It was really extraordinary to see the senators who are running for president in 2020 all backed this deal, those who are already in this race. So that kind of shows where the politics is. Now, this is a very broad and sweeping proposal. It's not actual legislation yet. It's kind of seen as a framework. But the fact that Democrats who are going to be vying for president are signing on to this proposal shows how critical it is to the party base. And I've been talking to activists this week who say that they are applying the pressure. It's also important to consider that climate, jobs, the economy, very important for a section of the electorate that will be really critical for Democrats. That's young people. This is something that they really care about, and they need to mobilize to turn out in 2020.
Right. You called it yesterday a litmus test, really, for that section of Democratic voters. So let's talk about House Speaker Nancy Pelosi calling on President Trump to release his tax returns Thursday. Let's listen to what she said.
I think overwhelmingly the public wants to see the president's tax returns. And so they want to know the truth. They want to know the facts. And he has nothing to hide. I'll just tell you this and go on from there. Because we have important work to do. and we have important judgments to make, and we need information to make those judgments.
So Democrats are launching multiple investigations into the president's finances, but there's been no move yet to subpoena his tax returns. What's at stake here for Democrats? Because clearly the president has made it very well known that he is not going to release them.
Right, and so far he hasn't really faced many political consequences, at least from Republicans, for not releasing those tax returns. His conventional way of avoiding this is saying that he's been under audit, he's under audit and won't do it. Democrats, though, for the past 2 years feel like there has not been significant oversight of this president, and the tax returns are a way for them to get at things that they haven't been able to get at, which is the president's business, the president's own finances, and where his allegiances lie in terms of his finances and his company. So this is one kind of aspect of this. But the chairman of the committee, Richard Neal, also is keenly aware of the idea of overreach, and this is what all these chairmen and women are dealing with right now, which is they have a very active, restive Democratic base craving that oversight and wanting them to do everything they can. But on the other side, they don't want to be seen as overreaching and obstructionist, as the president has put it. So trying to walk a careful line here, but certainly this is something they want to do.
So in the meantime, President Trump accused Democrats Thursday of, quote, presidential harassment over these investigations into his finances. What do you make of that argument, that line of attack?
Well, we were talking about the State of the Union earlier this week, where he said legislation, not investigation. Right. So this is something we've been hearing from the president, that he almost thinks that these investigations into him, into Russia, the possibility of collusion, have all been part of a witch hunt and are kind of unpatriotic in his telling of it, or his description of it. So this is very much him kind of continuing to make this case. But Democrats feel the opposite way, and they are acting accordingly.
So while we're talking about investigations, the House Judiciary Committee has authorized a subpoena for the acting attorney general, although it has not been issued. And Matthew Whitaker said that he's only going to testify before Congress Friday if the subpoena threat is dropped. So why this condition?
Right. Well, the committee is saying, well, if you just come here and tell the truth, we won't need to use this. But they also want to keep it in their back pocket. And the White House, the administration, is claiming that the committee is trying to play some partisan games here. Now, Whitaker, of course, is going to be on his way out soon. He's the acting attorney general. William Barr, his replacement, did pass through committee today, and he's expected to get confirmed by the Republican Senate majority. But Democrats are still very interested in Whitaker because of the Russia investigation, and they have lots of questions about about the Justice Department and how the president has been acting.
So you said that William Barr is expected to get confirmed, but is there a big challenge, though, still, nevertheless, that, when we watch actually that final vote, that we could, see some perhaps bumps in the road? Right.
Well, it is a Republican majority, and they don't need a supermajority to confirm executive appointments. Right. And so they really just need that simple majority to confirm them. And I would also expect that you might have a couple of Democrats reaching over and supporting Barr, just given that he has served in previous administrations. And this is not a fight that they want to really pick. I don't expect, however, anyone running for president to back Barr.
I imagine not. I imagine not. During his hearing last month, Barr left open the possibility the results of the Mueller probe might not be made public. So what tangible impacts would that actually have if he is confirmed?
Well, this is something that Democrats were asking him over and over again during his confirmation hearing, is would you make this public? And he basically said, to the extent that I can. And, we know that there could be classified information or confidential information that he couldn't exactly share. But we also know that Democrats, especially on the House side, really want all the information out there. They want the public to see it. And so I would expect that we will see it in some kind of form. But the president, in an interview with Margaret Brennan last weekend, didn't say that he wants it out there.
All right, Caitlin Huey-Burns. Caitlin, always great to have you. Thank you.